Hello, and I'm I'm some generic reviewer. I'm going to rewrite a movie. Now, what this entails isn't necessarily saying, okay, here's this movie, everything about it is stupid, let's replace it with something better. For example, the movie I'm going to talk about today is Batman and Robin. That really infamous movie. The thing about the thing about this is that I'm not saying trying to turn it into The Dark Knight or Christopher Nolan movies or something like that. I'm taking a look at it, looking at all the elements we can and seeing how much of it I can keep true to what it originally was while actually making a good movie out of it. A good movie, not necessarily a great one, since a good movie is required for a good movie requires making a lot of sense with the structure. How do I put this? With a good movie, all the elements are there. You see everything. Everything works together, and the structure behind it is sound. And the structure is what I'm going to work on right now. The basic ideas of story, basic character arcs, and motivation, stuff like that. Themes, you see. That makes a movie good. It would be up to a director to put in all the extra touches, all the finesse, and all the effort that makes a movie great. But before I talk about Batman and Robin, I'll need to talk about Batman Forever. Now, Batman Forever was close to being a really good movie, but was sidetracked at the end. Because if you read the novelization, which I shall grab right now. There goes my pens. The Batman Forever novelization is good. It does exactly what I like in a novelization. It takes a look at the movie and basically is based on an earlier version of the script, which is very often the case. But and sometimes it can result in a movie not being as novelization not being as polished as the final product. This is an interesting case where it's actually better because Batman Forever had several cut scenes that was basically tied into a theme about why Batman was Batman, about the psychology of it and everything. I'm serious. The book tied into this a little bit more, with scenes that were cut out of the movie. In fact, I think if you look online or something, you can actually find some deleted scenes. I'm not really going to go into detail because this video isn't about that movie. I'm just saying that movie would have served as a great blueprint for this one if those changes were made. So, yeah. Although, I guess the other thing that probably made the movie better is if Two-Face was taken seriously, because it would work a twofold purpose. One, it would make Two-Face actually an interesting villain, and probably a lot more beloved in that movie than he is now. And two, it would have made the Riddler funnier, because he'd have an actual straight man to work off of, rather than just another goofy idiot. But I'm getting sidetracked. You get the basic idea of what I'm talking about here. Some changes that would make the overall product better. So, what was Batman Forever trying to be? Well, Batman Returns did not have great returns in the box office because it was seen as too dark. Now, one could make the argument that the problem it ended up kind of almost failing was because it was trying to be marketed as a family-friendly movie when it really wasn't. And so the executives said, look, we gave him way too much free reign. Let's bring on a new guy, Joel Schumacher. I'll talk about him in a sec. And let's tighten our grip a little bit to make sure it's family friendly. That all ages can see it. That's lighter, campier, and more comic booky. And on paper, this really isn't that bad of an idea. Because while a lot of people like to take Batman very seriously, He can work as a campy character. I'm very fond of the Adam West, the Batman series. And the reason I like that version of Batman is, well, it is silly, it is campy, but it has some sort of internal logic and internal seriousness. The characters take this situation seriously, but it's the wackiness of it that makes it what it is. It makes it silly, it makes it funny, but you can almost kind of take it seriously. You could actually get invested. Batman Forever, it gets close. It gets pretty close. Riddler is a little bit too over the top for me, but I'm sort of iffy on Jim Carrey. I like him when he's a bit more understated, but when he's really, really over the top like this, it grates on me a little. But that's more personal preference rather than saying it rather than it being objective fact. I'm saying that Batman Forever, if the scenes weren't cut and if Tommy Lee Jones played Two-Face seriously, it would have worked. It would have been a better movie than it is now. But if you want to experience Batman Forever, read the novelization. While Two-Face isn't quite as seriously played as I'd like, the rest of it makes this the definitive version of experiencing. And now we move on to Batman and Robin. Now, novelization is interesting because it does have a few extra story threads in there because, well, how do you make a novelization of a toy commercial, as Doug Walker is? The Nostalgia Critic has referred to this movie, and he is 100% correct. The promise of this movie is it's a toy commercial before a movie. So, well, if I continue this series in the future, it's going to try to play true to the movie's original purpose, and just tweaking the story to make it better. This time it's going to be a different outset. Instead of having it being a movie that they're making in order to make as much money off of merchandise of it as they possibly can, instead this is going to be more based around improving it by having it essentially the way to make this would be take a look at it and say, alright, okay, Batman Forever has worked. Do that again. And that would work here. Because on paper, the movie is severely flawed, but there are elements that could work for basically Batman Forever again. Not necessarily a note-for-note remake, but more something that's in the exact same tone that would work perfectly. Family-friendly, but interesting and fun. I would like that. I would have, if the movie is how I'm going to describe it now. If it was made like that, I don't think people would look at this and say it was the best one. People would most likely still say, oh, the Tim Burton movies are better, but they'd at least say, okay, that's Schumacher, not as good as Tim Burton, but he tried. And honestly, this is what I'm going to get at. Joel Schumacher is not the reason Batman Forever sucked. Batman Robin sucked, sorry. Batman Robin sucked, not because of Joel Schumacher, but because of creative control being taken away from him. He had little control over his project. Granted, some of the touches, like Nibbles in a Batsuit, are a bit infamous, and they are his decision, as well as the kind of weird, gaudy style for Gotham, but honestly, I don't mind that. Nibbles in a Batsuit, I find a bit odd, but I can ignore it. It doesn't bother me that much. Honestly, if he was able to take the story just a little bit more seriously and able to really give it his all and everything, this could turn out a good movie. So, step one for making Batman and Robin good. Cut the fat. Poison Ivy and Bane don't add anything to the story because they're basically there to sell more toys, be an additional force for them to come across, and the only role they ever really play in any capacity is that Ivy is as additional obstacles, but also Poison Ivy pits Batman and Robin against each other, but she's not really necessary to do that. You can just have natural character conflict without having to have something explain it away. You know, they're kind of having character conflict in the first place. You don't need Poison Ivy there. Next, Batgirl is not important. This should be about Batman and Robin. She's not necessary there because, well, she doesn't like Poison Ivy and Bane. She adds nothing. I mean, there's a... I think there's... Schumacher was actually planning to make a fifth one, Batman Triumphant, so if you wanted to have Batgirl in there, that would have been the one to add her in. But right now, Batman Forever started Robin's arc of coming to his own as a superhero. Well, we'll get to that in a sec. And Batwoman, I mean, Batgirl should not have been in this because it would have just taken away from that. And that's really the problem. These guys take up screen time without adding any substance. So they're not necessary. Cut them out. Have more focus. Also, while I don't mind campy, I don't mind jokes and such, the film goes way too far. Mr. Freeze should not be spouting ice puns, since he should be treated seriously. I mean, maybe like an occasional ice pun I'd let slip, but he makes way too many to be able to take him seriously as a threat. So, it doesn't need to be nearly as jokey and as punny as it was. Right, as the movie was made, it was made pretty much in a farce, and that's just way too much. It can be a lighthearted, campy affair without being an outright farce. I mean, if they wanted to go full out farce, that's fine, I guess, but not as part of a main series. As a parody, a farce would work. This should not have been a parody since, well, some things I'm going to bring up in a minute. Also, extra stuff like the unnecessary extra suits and the Batmobiles and the whatever that come into climax out of nowhere, they're not necessary. Just cut them. Keep them for the toy lines, but don't have them in the actual film. You don't need all this product placement and toy stuff. Since, again, this is what happens when you let ad executives and toy marketers make a movie rather than the actual movie makers. You end up a commercial.